Hi, this is Max with Hot Lava Sports, and today's episode is Blake Snell. I'm sure you've already heard that the Giants signed Blake Snell to a 2-year, $62 million deal, and earlier in the year, he turned down a 6-year, $168 million with the Yankees, hoping to get $270 to $300 million, and he wanted to stay on the West Coast as much as Juan Soto was trying to deal him, as much as Yankee fans want him, and as now the Yankees are really concerned without Garrett Cole and with that Juan Soto package deal, they sent King, Vasquez, and Brito to the Padres. Um, that is a really big missed opportunity. Maybe they'll go with Jordan Montgomery, but this episode's about Snell and why this offer is so much bigger. This deal is so much bigger than free agency. Why this is actually why this affected the Padres and the Giants. Well, so I'm going to go over a few different segments of what a qualifying offer is. So to start off, a qualifying offer is a competitive balance measure that was implemented in the 2012 bargaining agreement. So basically, players have the opportunity to agree on the implementation of the international draft day, which would have eliminated the qualifying offer system. But so teams have the ability to um, to make a qualifying offer. That player has never received a qualifying offer previously in their career, or that player has spent the entire season on that team's roster. In season acquisitions are ineligible. So a player cannot accept or decline a qualifying offer during which the time he can negotiate with other teams to survey his value. Should a player decide to accept the qualifying offer he has signed for the following year at the predetermined salary of the league's 125 highest paid players. So this is like really high stuff. This is like players top of the payroll, players that are going to be the highest signing, and um, yeah, as a Scott Boros client, he didn't get as much, but we'll see what he does. But if a player rejects the offer, this is where this affects the Padres and the Giants significantly. He is free to further explore the free agent market. Now, that just sounds like any other free agency, right? Not exactly. So there's compensation for losing players who receive a qualifying offer. If a team gives a qualifying offer to a player who then signs elsewhere, the club that lost the player is eligible for draft pick compensation in next year's MLB draft. So this is really big because you saw how like Paul Skees, uh, Jackson, Holiday, Dylan Cruz, like these up and coming guys, and a lot of these guys are being called up faster and faster. So even though they can't, it won't be necessarily a first round pick, but there's a lot of great talent, especially when they cut the rounds from 40 to 20. Um, so on top of that, competitive balance tax. If the team that loses the player went over the the CBT tax threshold, the compensation pick will be placed the fourth round after the fourth round has been completed. So the value of the player's contract doesn't matter in this case. And then revenue sharing recipients. If the team that loses the player is a revenue sharing recipient based on its revenue market size, then the section, if and only, this is important, if the lost player signs for at least 50 million will be awarded a pick between the first round and the competitive balance round A. If the player signs for less than 50 million, compensation for those teams would come after competitive balance round B, which follows the second round. And all other teams, if the team that loses the player does not receive revenue sharing and did not exceed the CBT salary threshold the previous season, its compensatory pick will come after balance B. The value of the player's contract doesn't matter in this case. So If a player's team's MLB's worst record and a team of 500 both lose a free agent, the team with the worst record would. It's really complicated, but it's pretty simple. And then there's penalties for a club that signs them. A team that signs a player who has rejected a qualifying offer is subject to the loss of one or more draft picks. However, a team's highest first round pick is exempt from the forfeit. Players who are unsigned after the start of the MLB draft in the year that follows the rejection of the qualifying offer are no longer tied to draft pick compensation and can be signed without their new club needing to forfeit a draft pick. I want to read that one more time. Players who are unsigned after the start of the MLB draft in the year that follows. Yeah. Three tiers of draft pick um, forfeiture. Based on the financial status of the signing team, are in place to serve as the penalty for the signing team. Competitive balance payers, a team that exceeds the CBT threshold in preceding the season will lose its second and fifth highest selections in the following year's draft, as well as the 1 million from its international bonus pool for the upcoming signing period. Well, why is that important? Well, Padres got Ethan Salas for international, and then the Verizon guy. A lot of these Venezuelan and international players that are just really piping these. They're making their way to the bigs, like Juan Soto, Dominican, all of these really big time players. Like that's why like the Rule 5 draft is really important because of the um, like your your control of a player. That's why Paul Sneese is not starting the season on the role, not because he's not capable, but just because they want control. They don't want to be forced to pay him before they need to or risk his performance. So on top of that, so here's an example. Um, so if a team signs multiple qualifiers, it will forfeit. Um, um, it's for international pool for the incoming signing period. If a team such multiple offer free agents, it will forfeit its third and sixth highest picks. Here's an example. A team with one pick in each round of the MLB draft will lose its second and fifth round picks. A team with two first round picks, and there's a lot of numbers and revenue sharing recipients. A team that receives revenue sharing money will lose its third highest selection in the following draft if it signs two such players. It will also forfeit its fourth highest pick. A team with one pick in each round of the MLG will lose its third round pick, um, and one pick in each of all other teams. If a team does not receive revenue sharing and did not succeed the CBT salary threshold in previous season, it will lose its second highest selection in the year's draft, as well as 500,000 from international bonus pool money. Sounds like I'm reading a lot here. I am. But the reason I'm saying this is why the Padres and Giants, and why the whole league decided to wait until the day before, essentially, the Korean series to start to for him to make a signing. It's like, and he's gonna get his money. I believe I read he has an opt out that he can do after the first year, and then also on top of that, and this is all on qualifying offer on MLB glossary. So um, I'll try to make that available to you guys. But a team with one pick in each round of the MLG draft would lose a second round pick. A team with two first round picks would lose the second highest first round pick. Um, uh, no, each pick in the first 10 rounds of the draft has an assigned value. So that's like, the what that draft slot is. So in total, each club's selections equals what it can spend on signing bonuses for players selected in those rounds without incurring a penalty. And, that tax penalty, that's why the Padres really couldn't afford to bring him back. And that came at a cost because in this upcoming draft, they had to go down 10 spots because they were over the tax. And I think the Mets, Rangers, and quite a few other teams fell in that
box. Um, and it also surrenders the company pool bonus pool money associated with that pick, independent from any money forfeited from its international bonus pool. History of the so free agent picks were awarded after the natural first round of the draft and became competitive roundouts. Yeah, that was a lot, and it sounds like I was reading a lot because I was, but I really wanted to explain the importance and the reason why Blake Snell took all this time, why he was in no rush, why both teams were being patient, and this could affect years, if not decades, down the line and affect their pipeline. Thank you. Have a great night and enjoy the game on this opening weekend.